On today's episode, I have Nicole Christy of John Delano Marketing joining me. She is talking about branding, website development, everything you need to know about marketing and branding yourself here in the new year. So if you're interested in setting yourself up for success and building a much larger, bigger, better, and brighter brand, this is the episode you want to tune in for. Miss Nicole, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You are one of those individuals that have really helped me to set my business up with success through your area of expertise with branding and marketing. And branding is something that we're really focused on here in 2020 as we're launching our new branding series. And so I would just love to get your insight on what people should be thinking about as it relates to building their personal and professional brand.
What a huge universal question, right? I think that the first thing that comes to mind is being true to yourself. I think you absolutely did that with your brand, and I love when I see clients doing it when they're thinking about the emotional involvement and the product that they're creating with their company and their brand and the message that it has overall. Your brand speaks to people, so talking through the actual message and the things that it's saying to your target audience is important.
So you have worked with a number of different individuals. People that have been in business for a number of years, as well as those that are just getting started, me being one of them. So what are just if somebody's looking just to get started, what are some of the basics that they could look to implement?
The basics for the brand, along with messaging, of course, and thinking about what you are going to say to your target audience, I would think of something that embodies fun for you, because having a little bit of positive energy behind what you're doing is so important. No matter how serious your service is, it can be fun. There can be a tagline, there can be a mascot, there can be things that make it worth getting up and going to work for every single day. So no matter how technical it is, jargonous, serious, it could even be for the federal government. No matter what it is, it can be fun.
I'd like to kind of transition into social media. There are people that use it and there are people that do not. So for those that are utilizing social media to promote and build their brand, are there any best practices that you would say that apply to just, getting on or getting started with social media?
Well, I would say that being yourself personally is very important. No matter if you're representing your brand on social media, logging into your Instagram or Facebook and posting things on behalf of your company, I think that showing yourself every once in a while is important, and the people behind the page, speaking in first person absolutely in the caption and making sure that there's humans, that people know that there's humans behind the posts, is really important for your brand. When you pop in and you have a story to tell, it's very, very valuable. It's content marketing beyond what anybody could really understand. The ROI is behind that, and so telling stories as well is super important.
I know for me, I found just finding a consistent schedule to start posting things on. So whether I'm just posting about my podcast on one day a week, or if I'm posting about, I do Monday motivation, so I do that religiously every Monday. And so that's helped to build that following, because those individuals start looking for that information.
Yep.
And I think
consistency is key.
Consistency is key. Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
So social media is one thing that we continue to expand upon. One thing that I personally am always interested in is, do you feel like it's worthwhile for us to even look at doing those advertisements on social media?
Absolutely. Pay-per-click advertising and stuff that's driving traffic to your website is absolutely valuable. It's bringing you to the front page of Google more. It's just increasing visibility more than you would even imagine. The mentions even and comments and people clapping for you and tagging your page are all doing things to strengthen your presence online.
So you helped me with my website. I was one of those individuals that was like, oh, I can figure this out. I can get on. I used a platform called Wix, and nothing was really wrong with it, but there really wasn't a lot of strategy. Excuse me. There wasn't a ton of strategy. It was more of a static website with just some content listed on it. You helped me to elevate it and take it to a whole nother level. So would you mind just sharing, what are the pros and cons to using those free website development sites versus, hiring a professional like you?
Thank you. Of course, I'm always going to say hire the professional. Before you can do that, I think of something like as simple as your home and landscaping. You can definitely plant some flowers outside and it's going to look beautiful and be meaningful to you that you did that. However, if you want that awesome landscaping, you're going to hire the professional. You're going to know it's beyond your understanding, and you're just going to allow them to do that work and to make your dream come to life. I would say that your website was originally the flowers planted that you had done yourself, and you were very proud of them, and they worked. But what I think of that helping you in business is like having a phone number that no one ever answers, and you have a very informative voicemail that they can listen to, and at the end, that's it, and hopefully they leave something for you and hopefully you connect. But if not, all you really gave them was that static information and an ability to connect with you in just one way. So your new website has so many ways to connect with you. It has contact forms, it has surveys, it has your event calendar, it has all these fun things that you can capture people in so many more ways than just that voicemail.
Just talking to local entrepreneurs, I mean, we have a very diverse listener base. And so for those individuals listening that are starting their businesses off and just looking to get started, I mean, I know when I just initially got started with hosting my events, I was utilizing Eventbrite for putting all my content for my events on there. I had my email campaigns that I was utilizing. And then also, like, even our membership forms, I had them like in Word documents. I had them in Word documents that I would send in email via attachments. And so I just came to realize that I was so ineffective with my time and my energy, and I wasn't able to respond to people as timely as I needed to. And so that's certainly something that just from a time and energy management, if you have a really good website, it can certainly help you in so many different ways. So for those that are toying with they just started their business, or they're getting ready to launch their business here in 2020. They want to get some content up onto a page. What are the basics that they would need on a website?
Basics that they would need on a website, I would say 100% is about us. A lot of people are hesitant to write an about us page, but it's something that links relevancy really quickly to the front page. When people even search something like a local business, if that local business has an about us page, they're more likely to come to the front.
And because you look at so many different websites, are there any that really stand out to you that you think are really awesome that could inspire some individuals?
Oh my goodness. Earlier, 2019, when we were going into 2019, I was really excited for looking at 2020 website design. What is going to be new? What's going to be amazing? And I would say that throughout the entire year with everything that I did, it still came back to user functionality and the user experience being simple and quick as far as the call to action, and none of the beautiful, gorgeous, bring me in, like staring at a lava lamp designs made me actually implement any of those because they weren't practical. And they were beautiful on the sites that I found them on, but user experience, clicking around even them for me, I don't think that I would have bought anything or reached out to anybody on any of those super designer sites. I like the ones that are easy to use. And I think that Uber is an excellent example of that right now. The app itself and the website, it may get a little bit of controversy, but it is very easy for everyone to use.
So outside of websites, what other basic elements that relate to marketing ourselves would you recommend that people have in their back pocket?
I would say a presence for yourself online, and that means going to the business journal and writing a press release about yourself and the services that you bring to the community, whatever that is. If you are involved in something that is philanthropy driven or something that's really impactful, that's an even better story to tell. And consistently storytelling about yourself is one of the hardest things to do, right? Anytime that someone says, can you write this thing about yourself? I mean, of course, even for Resources for Growth, it's difficult. Everybody had a hard time thinking, what are the best things about me that someone would reach out to me for? And that's constantly putting in that in the media, number one. You could do that through social media. You could enter a publication. You could contribute to a column in the newspaper. There's so many things that you could do for yourself to get personal content about you and what you do online in a compassionate way, stories about what you do, again, instead of that content that you would think traditionally people would generate.
Nicole, I'm curious, do you feel like marketing pamphlets or brochures, are those going by the wayside, or are businesses still using that kind of stuff?
I would say that right now there's so much technology that develops every single day. There's new technology that comes to market. When I see a brochure that's has a clean illustration of a new process that is changing the way that we do things, a meaningful process. I had to see that in a brochure or on a website somehow for me to understand that. A lot of the times when I'm mostly influenced by that is innovations in skincare, right? When you're at the spa and a gorgeous brochure shows you about a new microneedling or whatever serum treatment you're supposed to have. That was a gorgeous piece of print that had a lot of time and effort put into it, a lot of data. That sold me on something right then and there. And likely the professional that I paid to see or a commercial or social media or any other avenue wouldn't have sold me in the way that that nice piece of print did. And I remember those instances when I talked to clients and they asked me about those kind of things.
Yeah, so print isn't going by the wayside,
Not
in
at
your
all.
opinion. Okay, because I mean, I feel like there was this huge green initiative, and it's not that we shouldn't be, thinking about.
It's just a place for everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're sold by a piece of print material. Sometimes it's glancing through something on social media and you click it and buy it,
Okay, kind of speaking to that point, what are your thoughts on actual business cards? Like moving forward, do you think that we'll still continue to hand out paper business cards, or will we start exchanging that stuff just, via email or whatnot?
I think unless there's some super intuitive way to swipe your phone over someone else's and get their contact information, or they're wearing a QR Fitbit that somebody could, swipe over, I have no idea, but I'm going to take their business card until things like that happen because I'm going to need it later on. I get home and I definitely put that in my phone or wherever. Add them on LinkedIn, number one usually.
Are there any new trends as far as like technology in the marketing space that you would encourage people to look at?
I would say that it's not a new trend, but people practically understanding their analytics, and understanding how people get to their website and then quarterly making adjustments that work to expand on things that are working for them and scale back on investments that aren't.
I know a couple other technology platforms that I've utilized. So like even for my email blast, I utilize MailChimp, which I think it's like up to 2,000 contacts. You can utilize like a free platform through them.
Yep.
Buffer or Hootsuite, one of those for marketing yourself consistently.
Yes.
So you can pre-book or schedule yourself out on just about any social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two that have helped to set me up for success with running my business. And you have been phenomenal. She's helped. So if you're wondering why my email templates look so much better, it's because of Nicole. I had to laugh because I looked at one of my email templates from January of last year, and my goodness, it has come a long way.
It's a glow up. AC BizLink has had a fabulous glow up, and I love to see it. Super valuable to the community. Everybody's invested their time and effort, and it's really grown into something beautiful because of that.
Thank you. So another initiative that you've helped me with was our Resources for Growth publication. I thought maybe you could share a little bit more about, what the Resources for Growth book includes and, kind of what we're looking to do with that here in the new year.
That publication is so exciting because of the group of people that are involved in it. I mean, these are super high quality individuals that I feel so inspired by after reading all the things that they do for people. The decisions that they've made in their lives to be so powerful for themselves and for others, they're all changing worlds for sure. So it's crazy to, flip through that and see all these people that are truly open to being a resource for you in your business and have gotten involved with the book because of that, because they're open to share.
Yeah, so for those of you listening that are unfamiliar with this new publication, A to Z BizLink is launching a brand new resource guide. It's called Resources for Growth, in which we have 13 different categories for businesses in which we are categorizing those local experts, consultants, service providers that can really help you to take your business to the next level. We have just found, we do highlight a lot of those individuals on our panel discussions or bringing them in as guest speakers, but it's nice just to have one book that kind of shares all the local rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
And so very excited. And I'm biased too, but I think the book looks absolutely beautiful thanks to Nicole's design work. Gosh, as far as, just setting ourselves up for 2020, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur. So I would love just to pick your brain on, what continues to propel you to continue to grow and expand your own personal business.
I think getting excited for new technology and things that my clients want to bring to their clients, finding out that they are building taller buildings since I'm in construction, that they're using more technical equipment, that they are building bigger buildings, that they're getting excited for bigger and better things. I am too. I think that bringing them to the forefront as individuals is going to be one of the most difficult things, is that a lot of people sit behind their brands and they expect their brands as a company to tell the entire story of who they are. And it falls short in some aspects until you start focusing on the people that are behind it and the leadership and how long they've been around and why they do what they do. The story of why, as we've heard so many times, is important. When companies start doing that, then I think that they'll see that true 100% coming around, and growth that they were looking for by investing in marketing and communications. If they're not doing that, they could invest in the strength of their brand, across digital platforms, in print, but it won't have the same strength. It won't have the same action that really telling your story does and showing the people that are behind the brand.
So I'd also like to, kind of speak to those individuals in a marketing role in corporate America. Are there any organizations or groups or blogs or things for them to follow specifically that could really help them to become more impactful in their role?
Oh my goodness. Well, a lot of people don't realize that corporate marketers are underwriters, are technical content writers that really need to be inspired by incredible bodies of knowledge. And so a lot of the times they don't realize that there are title certifications out there for them to strengthen their skill set in those types of things, in technical writing, in graphics, in business planning, and all of that stuff. One huge influence to me was SMPS. It's the Society for Marketing Professional Services and marketing roles that work for architects, engineers, and contractors across the nation. There's a chapter in every state. It really helps marketers break through outside of what you would assume a traditional role does and grow into a C-suite marketing leader. Even look forward to being something like a chief marketing officer in your organization that runs everything that you do. So it really helps you transcend into leadership. And then another one through Arizona State University is called the BD Guild, and it helps business development leaders understand marketing and operations so that they can go out and more effectively sell the company's services. So those are both two really important for marketing.
Yes, I know throughout my career I've definitely seen the value of having a highly collaborative marketing and business development team, because they should be working hand in hand to sell and further promote the greater good of the businesses they represent.
Mm-hmm. The same message, on board with the same message.
Absolutely. So just kind of getting back to those individuals working within organizations, I know you've put together some great processes and procedures. For those that are just relatively new to the industry, what are some basic processes that you would encourage them to implement here in the new year?
For marketing for small businesses or otherwise, I would say that it's uncomfortable to do, but delegate. As anything that you're doing that you feel that maybe it's better for a creative, better for an admin role, and you ask yourself, gosh, could there be somebody better to do this? I'm not the best person to do this. Give it away. Start delegating right away. It's going to grow yourself. It's going to grow your team, and you'll just be so much better supported in what you're better at, what you can actually do well with your time. And I would say managing social media, I would choose a top 3. I know that Gary Vee would be mad at me for saying that and say that you need to be on TikTok and you need to be all these other things, but I would probably just choose the top 3, which I've heard before and is effective for me, so that you don't get overwhelmed with multiple different avenues of content or checking different things, which takes a lot of time every day. Stick to your top 3 and it'll be easy to manage.
Okay, those are great tips. Okay, now I want to go back to social media one more time, because you mentioned just focusing on those top 3. One question I'm always curious about, can you post the same thing on all 3 platforms, or does it need to be different?
Well, I would say that you are talking to different people in those groups. And unless you had 3 literal identical follower bases that you felt that information was helpful to or applicable to, then yes, you could. But nobody has the same follower bases at all, And there can be a lot of younger friends that you work out with and do different things with, from the dog park, that are on your Instagram. And then individuals that you know from college that you've had a professional relationship with for 10 years on your Facebook. You are likely not going to post one or the other things, to those different groups if they are not either personal friends of yours or part of your professional network. I feel that there's small variations to be made to tailor your messages to knowing your audience.
I've had this conversation with several other business leaders in the community where they're ready to start utilizing social media to promote their brand, but they're kind of torn because how they've been leveraging or using Facebook is for all their personal stuff. And they're like, well, I just don't really know that it's the right platform for me to start introducing business stuff. So And they also say a lot of times the same thing is true, like even for Instagram. I'm curious, in your opinion, do they just kind of start modifying what they already have on their personal stuff, or do they create their own business version profile for each one of those social platforms?
I'm finding that I am getting a larger follower base and more engagement with my professional page that is using hashtags that are relevant to my industry, and people are finding me more often by being an award-winning SMPS marketer and talking about AEC construction, which is what I'm known for. I don't have a lot of increase in followers on my personal page because I don't use hashtags that are driving my post to the top or any of those things. So how I go about it is driving, the increased interest as well. And I would recommend that if your business is something that you need to educate people on, to have a page where you talk about that, because it's going to be often and you're going to be saying a lot of things that people maybe in your private side wouldn't understand or truly care about, whatever. So if you had a personal and professional page and you manage them both, I think it's very helpful to you. I think that you'll see more likes that are relevant on your professional page and not seeing the 2 likes that you might discourage you, in your personal group.
Okay. And you also mentioned hashtags. Mm-hmm. When do you use them and when don't you use hashtags?
Well, it depends on what your goals are. If your goals are purely to drive an increase in followers, once you get that, you will be at a loss when you don't see conversion happening, because unfortunately you did all these things to gain a follower base, but you didn't do anything to drive conversion. You didn't have call to actions in your stories. You didn't have swipe ups. You didn't have, people that are influencing a conversion, a call to action. And if you're doing things like multiple hashtags, you can't have more than 30, so you can't really bomb it out too much. You can comment on your own page, your own posts with more hashtags, and you can have multiple pages to interact with each other. You can do all that stuff, but it's a little bit of a headache, right? To do all of that to, just to have an increase in followers, when you could do like AZ BizLink does and put out genuine, helpful content that's relevant to the followers, and it grows organically.
Yeah, I think there has to be a greater plan in place when it comes to building your social presence, as well as just thinking through your overall marketing campaign and strategy. How does it all intertwine? How is your message consistent? I know I don't just post anything. I mean, it has to be something that certainly applies to my target audience.
Absolutely.
Or those individuals that, I'm trying to get to attend our events because of, the topics or the people that we're driving into, speaking at our programs. So that's been really helpful for me. So I encourage people to really think through creating their own game plan, and even creating their own marketing calendar or social media calendar.
Absolutely.
It might sound kind of silly, but if you hold yourself accountable and really think through and be more mindful of what you're posting about, I think it'll be helpful in the long run.
I use an app called Insights. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. You can see, I don't know if at the end of the year you see that people post their top 9 most liked photos. You can use Insights for something like that. That'll show you most engaging posts. So that's pretty helpful to look at the end of every single month and see what your most liked stuff was, what the least liked stuff was. You can plan out your feed, accordingly to see what's more engaging. And you can see little things like people unfollow you or whatever. Maybe you're ruffling some feathers and you see a huge drop, like that. That's all helpful analytics for anybody doing social media.
So it's Insights?
Yep, Insights. Yep, okay. You download the app, you connect it to all of your Instagram pages if you want, and then you can see new followers, you can see ghost followers. You can remind yourself of the individuals out there watching your content that don't like or comment, that you forget even follow you. They're valuable as well. They're just taking it right in.
Absolutely. It's very insightful. I'll definitely have to check that one out.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to get to know our guest speakers or share their story with all of our listeners. So we've definitely gotten to know a little bit more about what you do on the professional side, but how about you as an individual? When you're not so busy creating fabulous websites or developing new brands, how do you like to spend your free time?
Oh my goodness. Well, anybody that knows me knows that I'm 100% hanging out with my kids. I don't want anybody to think that that's totally cliche to say, but I'm 100% obsessed with them. John Delano Marketing is actually named after my children. They are named John and Delano. When I was going into thinking about construction industry marketing and having my own consulting agency, I knew that male consultants were chosen more often over females, and that I may be in a bidding war or in a discussion where somebody mentions John Delano and they say, bring him in. And I was so excited for that to happen. And it's probably happened 100 times that I don't even know. But I get asked a lot, who's John Delano? And I love to say it's my partner, the best business partner I could ever have, these two boys. So.
Oh, that's so cute. No, I love the fact that you named your company after your boys. And then you are also one of the most fashionable individuals as well. So Nicole probably could just have her own fashion blog. And so I'm curious, part of your brand is also how you represent yourself and present yourself to the business community. Do you have any tips for those individuals? Especially, I love to talk to those that are just graduating from college or entering the business industry. What are your tips as far as how you present yourself through, what you wear, how you carry yourself?
I love that you said recent grad, because I think that the lesson that first came to mind was important and impactful to me when I was a recent grad. However, it could be at any age in life, is to know when you introduce yourself and when you walk in a room what you're there to do and what you are going to say you do. So when I was first starting out as a marketing coordinator in construction marketing, I worked for a flooring company. And unfortunately, for my first 5 years, although I was an award-winning marketer, when I met people at events, I told them I was in flooring. And I think that nobody connected me with my talent and what I was willing to do and excited to do and my creativity, because they thought of flooring when they met me, and that's because what I said. So I would encourage individuals to say what they do versus the company really that they work for or industry that they're in when they meet people, and don't be shy about talking about your strengths in that way.
And I also would love for you to share what pushed you to actually start your own business, because gosh, it's really hard to finally branch off and start your own thing. So I'm curious, what was your experience, and what would you share with other individuals that are thinking about doing the exact same thing?
My experience was a huge eye-opening moment when I started to understand contracting. Before, when I went out on my own and I was with a marketing agency prior, I thought that it was a huge hustle, and every day you sprung out of bed and you were super scared because there wasn't anything on the table and you had to go out and get it. And as soon as I understood that marketing agencies operate really well by having retainer contracts that keep you on board for anywhere from 6 months to a year, and you grow with your clients together, and there's super fun things that don't make it as dangerous as I thought it was, I got really excited then, and that was just truly me learning the business more and understanding it versus it being this scary thing that looked like a dream that I may never achieve. But it wasn't a dream. It was a reality, and it's been great.
And how long has John Delano been around?
John Delano just celebrated our 2-year anniversary this last fall.
Woohoo! So exciting. So for those individuals that would love to just learn a little bit more about you and the services that you provide, where could they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at It's Nicole Time or online at john-delano.com.
Nicole, as we wrap up today's conversation, is there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Oh my goodness, words of wisdom. 2020 is just another year, you guys. If you have goals, don't let them be derailed by everybody's huge, grandeur dreams. Everybody will be the same in 2020, and people will fall off of their gym regimens in January, and a lot of the same things will happen, and don't beat yourself up. It's just a really exciting time for everyone to grow together.
Awesome. Thank you again, Nicole, for being here.
Thank you for having me.